All right, we're here in Beaufort, South Carolina. Came to my nephew's graduation, and it's a big family get-together. I got my dad, my mom, my brother's kids, Joe, who's behind the microphone, his son Mike, who's graduating, Caitlin, Christy, Jane, his wife. Is that the Jetsons? And also other grandma and grandpa, Charlie and Sarah, and I don't know, and the dogs. This is Terry, my sister.
Oh, hi. I'm not even paying attention to this camera. Sup?
And I'm also filming with this so you can tell John that I'm wearing his t-shirt.
Cool beans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, sitting here talking with Papa Van Dam. And one of the things that I do for my reality show on my website is that I always have these deep conversations with people that are thought-provoking. I mean, we did gun control, we did marijuana prohibition, we did language censorship, we did violence and entertainment, we did a lot of like thought-provoking, and it's something because that's like my real life, and fans watch wrestling and they don't get that, you know. Not that I'm that much of a character when I wrestle, it's pretty much me, but they don't hear they hear me say whatever or cool on TV, and they don't know that I'm actually, I actually think a lot, have deep thought-provoking conversations, and I'm realizing I got that all from you.
And you got a character too.
Whenever I visit though, we always talk about like really deep stuff. I mean, I've only been here a couple days and we've talked about God, we've talked about the Bible, we've talked about the government, we've talked about
Patriotism.
Yeah, all this, and we always do that, you know. And obviously, that's only been like probably since I've been an adult though, right? Or have we always had that kind of...
You're always pretty sharp, but I'd say yes, since you're an adult, right?
Now, I do remember as a kid wanting to challenge authority. I mean, I remember when there was a time when I realized I could no longer feel like I fit within rules that were meant for everybody because I was an individual, and I wanted circumstances meant for me. And I remember in high school arguing with Mr. Tenney, the principal, about things, you know, like, because I would walk on my hands down the hallway or do backflips, and he would tell me not to do it, and I would say, yeah, but if I can walk on my hands better than you can walk on your feet, then how can you justify that I can't do that? And that's the way that I thought back then.
And I'm glad you didn't get caught in everything.
Yeah, that's true. For sure, but that had a lot to do with just, you know, me realizing as an individual that I was different. I wanted to be different. I remember when I was younger, even, you know, when they started wearing colored shoelaces and tying my shoelace backwards, and I remember I was super young then, like maybe, God, I don't even know.
You've always
7.
expressed yourself as individualism.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like ever's always?
Well, as long as you have a reason to things out, you always reason individualism. You figure that you were you, and you were going to make your own rules and regulations.
That was Mom that came around the corner and then ran. You're not going to be on camera, Mom?
For what?
Just whatever.
Just say hi.
Might put it on RVDTV.
RVD?
RVDTV?
Okay.
Maybe.
Hi, I'm the mom.
I own this. I can use this in a documentary. I can do whatever I want.
All right.
I just got to get releases from my parents and my sister. Yeah. So I don't remember like ever like wanting to be like everybody else. I mean, as a kid, as an adolescent, I remember trying to fit in, you know, and that had to do with you had to wear Nikes, you had to try to buy Jordache jeans because the kids would make fun of you if you were Kmart shoes, or, you know, that's just how it was. And I remember going through that and kind of wanting to fit in that way, but yeah, it seems like there was a certain point when I didn't want to be like anybody else, you know. And when I was younger, when I was in 2nd grade, of course, they Miss Mary, Miss Kachina wanted to advance me to skip 3rd grade,
Right.
And so then, you know, I was academically gifted, and then by the time 4th grade, which I didn't do, but it was her suggestion, but by the time 4th grade came around, I turned into a goof off. And then I was like showing off, you know, getting people's attention, trying to make them laugh or whatever, and I was totally refocused.
Every time you got serious, you had to have a reason for something. When any laws or anything was discussed, there had to be a reason for it. And you had a reason why.
There was a quote that I used recently when I wrote this blog that I got from somebody, and it says, a foolish man simply accepts what it is that he thinks, where a wise man thinks about what it is that he will accept.
I agree with that, yeah.
Made a lot of sense, and for me, I have to know why, you know, and that's why, you know, I mean, it has to make some kind of sense. And, you know, that's why for several things, you know, like certain laws, you know, I'm just like, but that doesn't make any sense. And for the most people, they just kind of go along with it. They're just told, and then they go with it. I remember when I turned into a goof off in school, you always said you figured that's because I got bored with it.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Like I was just bored with school. It didn't excite me, interest me, and so I started goofing off. I'm quite sure that's why I left the WWE too, because I was bored. I mean, the living on the road was exciting at one time.
It gave you a chance to express yourself.
Yeah.
You went to WWE and took up wrestling because this is the way to express your individualism.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously at work, WWE looked at me and said, "We're going to write a song for it. We're going to call it One of a Kind." So it's important for me to always express the importance of individuals and to everybody, and to celebrate their own identity, because who wants to be a statistic, you know?
Yeah.
Statistics don't work for me unless they're talking exactly to me, you know, and I'm one of those numbers. But it is something to use for a reference, you know, but when you use it, you know? People don't even care about statistics, you know, if they take away people's freedom too much, you know, without having actual proof of anything.
Well, that's what I always said, there's two types of people, leaders and followers.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And I will have my people. Yeah.
Well, in wrestling, you expressed yourself as being a leader because your fans had to follow you. You know, they did what you told them to. And they expressed themselves by either applauding and by just following what you said. So, yeah, I guess you would say you were a born leader, but you restrict yourself to the entertainment field, I would say. You could go further if you wanted.
Well, as a profession, yes. Maybe we'll see what my path does. One thing that I definitely see in my future someday when I'm ready to report to a regular job is I want to have my own radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Topical, talk show, call-ins, and having these conversations. And in that, it's not so much entertainment, but it's like trying to persuade people to be free thinkers, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I'll bet you'll pick the topics.
Yeah, you pick a topic, you know, and then people will call in, and then, you know, I'll have someone else on the show, but we'll talk about it, and I'm very entertaining, so, you know.
Yeah.
I have friends that have radio shows, like Joe McDonald out in LA. I got pretty much a standard invite whenever I want to come in on the show, and I love that, you know. I loved it when WWE would send me around to do promotion, and I'd do radio shows, you know, get the headset on, and you're right in there in the little studio, especially when people are calling in and stuff, you know, because that was just something that I really enjoyed, like the interaction. And also being able to speak freely and give my honest thoughts on whatever somebody was asking me, you know. Too bad the WWE never listened to it, you know, I mean, or else, you know, maybe they would have wanted me to have more mic time, which I didn't care that much about, but for developing the character on the microphone is very important in Vince's eyes for putting someone that far up ahead, you know, and usually they didn't give me credit for being that much of a talker, and they never listened to all the radio interviews that I would do, and but then again, I just didn't want to push what they wanted me to push either, you know.
But you want to develop a following, though.
Oh, well, for sure. People that like the same things I like, you know. People that have a kindred spirit, you know. People that think, you know, that jumping off the top rope and doing a one-legged kick into a chair that Fonzie's holding and wrapping it around someone's face is cool. You know, if they don't think that's cool and entertaining, and instead they think it's entertaining, you know, to watch a guy go like spit water all over or something like that. If that's what they want to see, then okay, you know. Then if they want to choose not to be my fan, that's cool. That's the thing. I try to also be able to express to everybody, because I reach a lot of people. I'm in a spotlight. I try and, you know, don't hate on people for thinking differently than you do. You know, that's something I've never understood. You know, why you have to hate somebody because they're a different color, or because they believe you know, a different religion, or because they're from a different country, you know, so they should die. That doesn't make sense to me. Even if it's, you know, the United States agenda to, as an individual and morally, I always say there's man's law and God's law. To me, that doesn't make sense.
Which brings you back to leaders and followers. As a leader, you are free thinking. As a follower, you have your groups. Just everything you say, as far as your followers are concerned, is God's truth.
Is that mysterious void of what we know? I mean, there's something that we don't know. It's this mystery that and you know, it is what it is. I mean, there's something that created us. There's something that watches over us, that has a plan for us, that has a reason for this. For some reason we're here. There's a reason to this, and if it's just an experiment, someone's watching us or whatever, all that, you know, whatever that is, what you call it, the universe, call it life. That is God to me. You know, that's what God is, that mysterious unknown. So it's senseless for people to argue about, you know, like, this is God. You know, I know God. He went through this Virgin Mary and had this son, Jesus Christ, who died. And here he wrote on these tablets, you know, what he wants us to do. All that is, you know, it's good stories, and it has values, and it's the same stories in Greek mythology, Viking mythology, Egyptian, but little changes made throughout it, you know, and maybe it's based on something or not. But it's something that I think we can't know. The preachers, they're kind of like, and the Pope, for me, they're all like higher degrees, like professors of a particular study. You know, so if you're into that study, you respect them for their knowledge of that, but I don't look at them like they're closer to God than you or I.
Well, don't forget now, the Bible's written by man.
I never forget that. I can't forget that. I can't believe that we...
So you can't really say that this is all true.
No way.
No. I could go back
It
to
has
Abel and
authors,
Cain.
mortal authors.
Oh, I go back to Abel and Cain. Now, this was pre...
Ooh, I've been wanting to hear about Cain and Abel.
all these stories about Cain and Abel, all
Tell me that.
All your mythological characters, they're against what science does know to be cavemen, because
Right.
they're all supposedly leaders, and they're who was it, Cain or Abel? I don't remember my Bibles too well yet, but one, God puts eternity in black because he went against his brother.
King.
You know, I had this conversation twice in the last week, and nobody could confirm that. They thought I was crazy, but I remember as a kid hearing that Cain and Abel, one of them, I thought, killed his brother, and then God turned him black as a punishment. That was the story that's the story?
Yeah,
And then Cain's the black one?
I don't think he was supposed to have killed him, but he had excommunicated him. He lost him out of the country or something
Yeah.
like that.
What a
I remember the
crazy
same
story,
story.
you know? I mean,
Yeah.
wow. So God's prejudice. That's crazy. But yeah, I couldn't get that confirmed. But I mean, you your whole life pretty much have gone by the Bible, right? Or used that as a reference for.
Well, whatever is in it, it's a lot of wise sayings. I mean, they hold true. But
Yeah.
it's still man-made.
They're
And
all.
it's your turn.
I'm sorry. They're all true. Is that what you said?
No,
Is that
well,
what
he
you
said that
Grandpa?
there's a lot of good, wise stories. There's a lot of good knowledge out of there, and there are a lot of tools that you can use to help you with your life, you know, and there's a lot of good energy. People read it and they feel good, and yeah, I mean, you know, or they read The Secret, the book about the law of attraction or whatever, but I mean, not to compare Yeah, I am comparing it actually, you know, I mean, it's about a spiritual ascension, about, you know, getting that perk of energy up and feeling like you're connected with whatever that is, life, universe, God, that connection. And I think it's an interconnection. I think it's a divine source, and I can't really go beyond that to describe what God is, but I think we all have our own personal relationship with our creator, you know, and some of us try and get tuned into it and some of us don't at all. Some of us deny it, you know, but I think that, you know, that has a lot to do with what we're life and the meaning of it, like what we're supposed to be doing, because the more I feel like I'm in tune with that interconnection and I pay attention to signs and stuff, the easier life is. And I feel, I've always felt like I had a guardian angel or something guiding me through, you know, helping me along. And I felt like it was just me until, as an adult, you know, I started looking into spirituality and just reading books about what other people thought, and realized that there's a huge mass of people that are all feeling this connection, spending more time on that. And it's a belief that we're going back towards a more kind of like religious base, because it used to be all about religion. It used to be, you know, way back when the world was flat, you knew that the cattle died because, you know, or it rained or whatever. It was all about God, and it was about the devil or whatever. And then the clergymen started fucking up because they would translate the Bible for people, and then they would start taking bribes and get scandalous, and they threw out the credibility of the churches, and people wanted to break off and think for themselves and start their own shit. And then they turned to science for answers, and science, and it then became about destroying the planet and about this life instead of the other, the spiritual life, and about, you know, having more cars and bigger buildings and industries. This is stuff that I've read, and I believe it to be true. I think that a lot of people are having conversations like this now.
Well, that's what we were discussing the other day or this morning about you can't understand how people go out and kill each other because they have moral upbringing. I mean, they're moral. God gave moral.
Yeah, compassion.
He didn't give you compassion. He didn't. He gave you the ability to guide yourself on the morals. And all right, now some of them follow God's rules, others follow Satan's rules. And He gave you the compassion or the ability to develop the morals, but He didn't give you the morals. He just gave you the ability to be able to determine it.
And do you think that He gave everybody equally the ability to, yeah?
Yeah, He gave you the ability.
So it's all about choice.
But that's right, it's a matter of choice. Some, like I say, some follow God's rules, some follow Satan's rules. And again, it goes back to the upbringing as to what your parents or their grandparents or great-grandparents back down the line, what did they establish to be right and wrong? And that's what we follow today. That's where your morals come from. You know?
Judgment. Judgment is something that's taught or something you pick up.
So, again, it's handed down. It's handed down from generation to generation. The judging what's right and what's wrong.
That's my brother, Alan. Hello.
And otherwise.
And I think it's probably worth explaining the schnauzer and the high chair.
Yeah, I'd say.
People might wonder. Yeah, we're still filming. I'll cut it off. The dog. Sasha has a problem with her trachea.
She was born without a built nerve.
So she can't swallow, and she has to sit up for 30, 45 minutes after she eats to get it all down or something.
No, it's not she can't swallow.
Oh.
But she can't keep it down because nothing can keep it from going back up. So when she gets down, gravity just brings it back up. That's why she has it so she can digest for about 45 minutes.
And she's really good at it. She doesn't mind it. It's funny. People always got a kick out of it when they do it in the back of the van at the matches, because they'd have the back of the hatchback open and people would see it. All right, we'll cut this off a minute, but I want to talk just real quick, mention because I always think outside the box, and obviously I felt like that was okay because you did too. I remember ever since I was little, your theory, undeniable theory, I think, about how molecules or atoms, you know, with the nucleus and the electrons spin around, comparing that, what we're made out of, to the universe, the solar system, the sun, the planets spinning around it, and are we part of something much, much bigger? I remember that always, you know, so it's good. All right, let's get loud in here. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
You stopped it.
That's Jane, Alan's wife. You're on TV? Oh, yeah, Cameron. Awesome. She's pretty excited about it too. All right, cool. So I guess we're gonna get some food.